Hello and welcome to episode 33 of Game of Wines, A Song of Ice and Fire podcast. I'm Olivia.
I'm Gabby.
And I'm Chris.
And today we will be discussing the second part of Eddard Chapter 7 in A Game of Thrones, so make sure you have read that part before listening.
So, last episode, the first half of this chapter, Ned got some one-on-one time with Robert and got to see the man that he grew up with. Well, I guess the boy that he grew up with.
Yes.
Either way. And he also sat with Sansa to watch the second day of jousting when some crazy ish went down.
Yes.
Yeah, Gregor.
Yeah. Jeez.
Today we actually are going to finish up the tourney. Ned talks to Arya a little bit, and a secret friend gives us some information that Ned had not bargained for.
Ho, ho. Dun, dun, dun.
The wine that we have today is Bridge Road, and it's a white Zinfandel. And apparently Olivia has some
Yes,
orders
so
to bark at me.
our 10th wine roll from the new Wine Rolls book by John Bonet says that these 4 things will make you a master of pouring wine. So Gabby,
Okay.
while you pour, don't splash the wine into the glass.
Oh, God.
You're actually going to pour softly, but not timidly.
Well, what's the difference between...
And you're going to stop pouring mid-glass.
Don't be so timid.
Now, as you are done, crucially give a quick semi-turn with your wrist as you tip the bottle back
It's
up.
with the bottle. You do like a...
Like you turn it so it doesn't drip.
You ever been to a fancy restaurant and see them do that?
And he also says, it's not a bad idea to keep a towel or napkin in your hand to wipe the lip and keep it from dripping.
Yes. Too late for that now.
Wipe the lip.
Try it again. Try the semi-turn.
I'm scared.
And turn.
And that's why you keep a napkin on hand, ladies and gentlemen.
That was exciting.
No, it's all dripping down the bottle into my hand now, too.
There you go.
I splashed. Sorry.
It's okay.
Obviously, I'm never going to be a master wine
We need
pourer.
to practice our wine pouring, apparently.
It might just be because it's a giant bottle.
Yeah, it is a giant bottle.
It's
You're
one
right.
of the twofer bottles.
Yeah.
Ready?
And turn.
It's pretty good. Wine's pretty good.
Yeah.
Let us begin.
Okay. So, as Ned walked with Sansa to the archery field, so we finished with the jousting. We're now going to move to archery. They're walking to the archery field. Littlefinger and Lord Renly and some others fell in with them. Tyrell had to know his mare was in heat. I swear the boy planned the whole thing. Gregor has always favored huge, ill-tempered stallions with more spirit than sense, Littlefinger said. And while this seemed to amuse him, Barristan Selmy was not amused. And he said, there is small honor in tricks. So, meaning that we think that Tyrell actually... cheated and knew that his horse was in heat.
I don't know if it was cheating.
So he planned the whole thing to throw the tourney in his favor.
I guess that could,
I would say that's strategy.
Up for however you want to interpret it.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think it... sure, maybe he knew his mare was in heat. What if he didn't know that she was in heat? You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I think they're saying that he did. So that afternoon, a boy named Angui... Angui?
Mm-hmm.
Angui?
Yeah, that's kind of...
I didn't know how to say that word.
And guy.
Anguy. Wow. Okay, so that afternoon, a boy named Anguy, an unheralded commoner from the Dornish marches, won the archery competition. Ned sent Alan to seek him out and offer him a position with the Hands Guard, but the boy was flushed with wine and victory, and riches undreamed of. And he refused. So he refused a position with the Hand, because he was drunk, basically.
Hell yeah.
Well, and he had money. He's like, why would I...
He said, I don't need a job. I got money.
Yeah.
And wine.
And wine.
Yep.
Okay, so now we're moving on to the melee. So the melee went on for 3 hours and nearly 40 men took part. They fought with blunted weapons in a chaos of mud and blood. The victor was the Red Priest, Thoros of Myr, a madman who shaved his head and fought with a flaming sword.
He was the one that they made fun of, right? That Sansa, that they all made fun of, the old guy.
Yes, when they were coming into the tourney, yes.
That was weird.
I know. So that night at the feast, Ned was more hopeful than he had been in a long time. Robert was in high good humor. The Lannisters were nowhere to be seen, and even his daughters were behaving. Jory brought Arya down to join them, and Sansa spoke to her pleasantly about how amazing the turning was, and even asked her sister how her dance lessons were. And Arya, reporting happily, said that she was sore all over, and she was proudly showing off her purple bruises on her legs. Sansa then commented that she must be a terrible dancer. Okay.
So Sansa thinks that she's actually just dancing.
Probably.
Yeah.
Like it's a dancing class.
Oh, that's a good
Not a water
point.
dancing class.
Well,
dancing class.
You don't think Sansa
You think she
knew?
knows?
No.
I don't think so, because remember,
Really?
even after Jon gave her needle, it was keep the secret from Sansa.
That's true.
And then still even when Ned talked to her.
That's true.
It was like, don't.
I didn't
mess
think
with
about
your
that.
sister,
She
kind
just
of
thinks
thing.
she's legit.
So she's actually thinks
Doing
she's
a
legit
dance.
dancing.
Oh, Sansa.
Do you know your sister at all?
Right. She's not in dance classes. Come on now, girl.
So later that night, Ned inspected the bruise himself, and he goes, I hope Pharrell is not being too hard on you. Then Arya stood on one leg, which she was getting much better at as of lately, and said, Syrio says every hurt is a lesson, and every lesson makes you better. Ned frowned at this. The man had come with an excellent reputation, and his flamboyant bravos style was well suited for Arya's slender blade. Yet still, a few days ago, Arya had been wandering around blindfolded because he was teaching her to see with her ears, nose, and skin. Before that, he has her doing spins and backflips. So not a lot of, actual sword fighting that she can see. But maybe it's like a Mr. Miyagi kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm thinking.
Wax on, wax off.
Paint the fence.
Okay, so Ned then asked if Arya wanted to continue her lessons, and she replied yes, and that tomorrow they were going to be catching cats. Okay. So yes, just as Chris did, Ned sighed and thought that maybe it was a mistake that he hired Syrio. He mentioned several other people who could train Arya, possibly Barristan Selmy or even Jory Castle. And he said these weird blindfold handstand cat catching tricks were not what Ned had pictured when he hired him to teach Arya how to use a sword. Mm-hmm. Fair enough.
I mean, I don't think anybody thinks that they're going to be doing that.
Right, when you're teaching how to sword fight. But if Arya enjoyed it, then he's going to let her do it, but wants her to be careful.
Yeah.
Later, Ned took the girls, one bruised and one dreaming, to bed, and he looked out on the courtyard. He commented that it was very late and the party was just now winding down. Also, that Littlefinger still had a candle in his room, so Littlefinger's still up in the middle of the night.
Mm-hmm.
Of course he is. It's Littlefinger. Ned took up the dagger and began to run back through the entire situation in his head. So he's literally just holding it, trying to
connect the dots.
Yeah, I mean, as he does.
Yeah.
So he's kind of thinking, this blade was Littlefinger's, which Tyrion won, and then sent to kill Bran. Okay, that's obviously the gist of it. Yeah.
I think he's trying to just, right now, he's trying to put all the events in order.
Yeah.
To see if he can see something pop out at him.
Yeah. He's just wondering, his next thought is, why would Tyrion want to kill Bran? Why would anyone want to kill Bran?
Because he's just a 7-year-old kid.
Yeah, he's literally a child. Why is anyone... why would anyone be worried about him living?
Right.
Yeah.
Why would anyone want him dead?
He's then thinking that this has to be linked to Jon Arryn, but how and why? Why did Stannis not return for the tourney? Good point.
I see what he's doing, but these all, if you don't know the story, I feel like these all just sound like random events.
Yeah.
Bran got pushed out of a window. Jon Arryn died in a weird way. Stannis didn't return for the tourney.
Yeah.
And somehow all of this is connected.
Stannis was with Jon Arryn asking questions about Gendry.
Right.
So we have all these questions that they're just questions, but it's I'm going to ask myself these questions again to see if I can
how is it
remember.
connected to Bran?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
He's wondering what secrets Lysa took to the Eyrie with her.
And why she fled.
Yeah, and why did she leave in the first place?
Right, what does she have to hide?
The squire that was killed by a Lannister bannerman and the bastard of Robert's. So we're talking about Sir Hugh that was just killed, right?
The squire, yes.
Yeah.
And then the bastard
would be
Gendry.
And then yeah, obviously the bastard is Gendry. Bleh.
Oh, wow. Try that one again.
Because you say it differently than me.
Gendry?
I say Gendry. What do you
Gendry.
say? I say Gendry.
Is it Gendry or Gendry?
Gendry is what they say in the show.
Gendry? Mm-hmm. And I'm saying Gendry? Mm-hmm. Oh.
I say Gendry too.
It's Gendry in the show.
Gendry.
Yeah. Are we recording right now?
Yes.
All right, cool. Anyway, so obviously he's wondering, like, why, you know, the pieces that he's come to led him to Gendry. So he's like, okay, what does this have to do with anything, too? And then he's also... Okay, so why is this bastard important? So why was he important when Robert has so many all over the realm?
Right.
Obviously, like, he has followed breadcrumbs from Jon Arryn to Gendry, but there's still... I mean, there's a couple chapters where he literally, like, thinks about all the different bastards that he's, like, watched Robert have throughout the years. So...
And we just, like, listed a bunch of them, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Couple
See,
of
like,
them. This one, it lists right here.
Okay.
So, he recalls a highborn bastard of his at Storm's End, which was Robert's first child and a daughter at the Eyrie. And then she was a young, bright girl that Ned had seen frequently at the Vale. So
that's just two he's thinking of, but he knows that he
There's more.
has
There's
more throughout
Yeah.
the realm. There's
Right.
tons.
none of these would be cause for an alarm in his eyes.
So why is this one?
Yeah.
Right.
So Ned's thoughts were interrupted by a knock at the door, and I believe it's Jory who says a man is here to see you, but doesn't necessarily give a name. And the man was short and stout, with mud-crusted boots and a thick, coarse robe. Ned obviously is like, who are you?
Who you?
And the guy just replies that he's a friend, and that they must speak alone. Okay, weird. It wasn't Jory, it was Hardin. So Hardin left and shut the doors, and Ned instructed the stranger to be, obviously reveal who they were.
Telling me who you are.
And it ends up being Varys.
Varys.
So, Lord
Sorry.
Varys was extremely disguised. Ned commented that he wouldn't have recognized him from even a foot away. So, I mean, just the description that I said, the short, stout, and mud-crusted and thick, coarse robe, that's not what we think of as Varys, like, let's say in the Catelyn chapter. He was described differently. And I also don't think he's short.
Right.
From what I remember.
Also in the book, I just thought it was a funny thing. Ned was like, well, eunuchs usually smell like lavenders and like sweet.
Lilacs,
but you smell like straight up sweat, bro.
Yeah, well.
So, he even disguised his smell, which I thought was kind of funny.
So, obviously Varys was trying not to be recognized. That's why he was disguising himself so well. And Ned was asking how he got past the guards, to which Varys replied, "The Red Keep has ways only known to ghosts and spiders." So
I like that.
he's got little secret.
I like that because
passages.
Remember before when I believe it was Littlefinger. No, Catelyn called him the Spider.
Catelyn called Varys the Spider?
Yeah, and Littlefinger goes, "I wouldn't call him that. Like he doesn't. I bet he doesn't like that name."
That's
and now
funny.
he's
And then
actually
he just called himself that.
He just called himself the Spider.
he knows that that's his nickname because he knows everything.
That's hilarious.
So he's like-
so that's kind of a little callback to the Catelyn.
Yeah, a little bit like,
Chapter.
well, because I am Spider.
Yeah. That's funny.
I'll take the term.
That's a very good catch.
So, obviously, Varys is here to give some spill some tea. How about that?
some truth bombs.
Some truth bombs. So he literally just kind of opens with, the king is a fool, and says that they had hoped to kill the king in the melee today. Remember how Robert had wanted to fight until Ned talked him out of it. So, obviously, some people were getting ideas from hearing that he was going to be in the melee. So Ned was speechless at this and is like, who would have wanted to kill Robert? And Varys just replies that if he had told him, then he would be a bigger fool and be on the wrong side. So he can't...
But it's pretty obvious who it is.
Yeah, I mean, he's trying to give Ned this information, but doesn't, want... I don't know. He's definitely showing the interest is in the right place. He feels like he knows who has the best interest for the realm, but I feel like right now he's obviously sworn to somebody else and obviously just can't give that information up.
Right.
So Ned refused to believe it was the queen since she forbade him from fighting, which is true. Him and Cersei got into a fight because she was like, why would you fight?
Yeah, and Ned kind of puts it together and he's not telling him, but he's like, okay, so it was the queen. You're saying it's the queen then?
Yeah. And Varys says, yeah, in front of everyone, what do you think Robert's response was going to be?
Yeah, if you told Robert,
I
forbid you to fight in the melee, his immediate response is going to be, well, I'm going to fight in the melee.
Well, I'm going to fight even harder. Thank you.
Yeah, you can't tell the king, you're basically told the king what to do.
Right. And he's going to say, heck no, woman.
King's going to do the opposite of
I'll do what I want to do.
Yeah.
I'm Bobby B.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Bobby B.
So Ned is actually feeling sick by this, and he's like, well, who would have even dared to strike him? Like, even like saying
Like
what he
he's the
said.
king.
Yeah, like what he said to Robert, and he goes, Varys is saying, like, it would have just been a distraction, a simple accident. Think about all the people that are there fighting. All of a sudden, oops, the king got hit in the throat or something, right?
Yeah.
And then an accident that the queen would quickly forgive, and then good King Joffrey would pardon whoever that was. Or, just to cut loose ends, maybe the queen would just have Ilan Payne take off his head.
Jeez.
To cut all the loose ends. And Ned's like, oh, okay.
I mean,
yeah, I
he's
guess
got a
that
point.
makes sense. So Ned was pretty upset by all this. And he goes, okay, why didn't you stop it from happening then? I stopped it from happening, but I didn't even know it was happening. Why didn't you stop it?
Right.
And he's like, I command whispers, not warriors. I thought that was great.
That is a good line.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, so then why didn't you just tell me that?
Right.
True.
And he's like, I'm not sure if I could have trusted you.
Right.
He goes, you don't trust me?
I think he didn't trust Ned not to tell Robert the truth.
I think that's what it was. But he goes, I don't know if I could have trusted you. I don't trust you. I didn't trust you.
At this point, I think that Ned would do anything to protect Robert.
Right. And he goes,
Because he's the hand.
Yeah, and another reason why I didn't tell you is because if you would have told Robert, Robert would have definitely fought in the melee then. Because they would have been like a death threat against me. Psh, who's going to try to take me down? And he would have definitely fought in the melee, and then they would have killed him.
And I think that Varys didn't tell him also because he knew that Robert would do the right thing.
Yeah.
And try and stop him.
Yeah.
And so he goes, well, why didn't you trust me, though? Like, to maybe not tell Robert. Why didn't you trust me
I feel
at
like Ned
all?
is very offended that Varys didn't trust him.
Well, because Ned's all about honor, right? So it's like, he should be able to trust Ned.
Yeah.
But he goes, listen, there's two types of people in the court. There are people that are there for the protection of the realm, for the best of the realm, that's their interest. And then there's people that are there for themselves. How to numero uno, right?
There for the realm or for themselves.
And he goes, now I trust you because the queen fears you.
Who?
The queen fears you because he knows
Yeah.
that Robert won't have you killed.
Yeah.
No matter what, he won't kill you.
Honestly, right now, Ned is the biggest threat to Cersei.
Yeah, and Ned doesn't know how much power he holds in his hands right now. And Varys is like, you're the one that's holding all the dice, man.
Right.
Because Robert's not going to kill you. He's not going to kill you. No matter what you say to him, he's not going to chop off your head.
And he's going to listen to everything that Ned says because he's one of the only people that he can trust.
Yeah.
You know? So he's a very, very powerful person right now.
And I don't even think he doesn't even
And he doesn't even know it. Yeah.
And so Ned starts running through this in his head, and he's like, well, he's got his brothers for backup? No, not really. You got Renly's pretty weak. He's just kind of funny, but he doesn't really have any
He's
like,
kind of
pull.
there.
Yeah.
Stannis is nowhere to be found, and
True.
the Kingsguard is barely honorable, hence Jaime Lannister is part of the Kingsguard, and we know how well his honor goes when he killed the Mad King, right?
Yep.
He was the Kingsguard of the Mad King, and he stabbed him in the back. So it shows that there's really not that many people that the king can trust in. Ned is the one. So Ned agrees that with all the people that he has, Ned's the best one to give him the information.
Yeah.
And Ned goes, well, there's going to be more attempts, isn't there? And Varys goes, yeah, there's definitely going to be more attempts now because you foiled this one.
Yikes.
Soiled it!
He goes, our job now is to Varys goes, my job now and your job now is to find these attempts. I'll find them and you have to dismantle them until we can get enough evidence to bring it to Robert and say, look at what's been happening.
Yeah.
which is now it just adds another thing on Ned's plate.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's like he was just trying to find evidence
Right.
of why they wanted to kill Bran or why Jon Arryn was dead. Now
he's also got to protect the king.
now the king's in danger. Yeah,
God.
this is insane.
It's kind of exhausting.
Yeah.
So Varys turns to leave, and he's like, "Okay, this is our job now, but I gotta go. Like, this is real quick,
But I'm out.
but I'm leaving."
Deuces.
So he goes to leave, and before he leaves, Ned goes, "Hold on, I need to ask you about Lord Arryn. What happened?" Mm-hmm. And Varys smiles, and he goes, "I was thinking you were going to ask about that. It's about time that you asked me about it, because he was killed with tears of Lys." He literally knows what he was killed with, and he goes, "It's a poison. And it tastes like water. There's no trace left of it. And it does exactly what happened to him. So clearly, someone that had been eating with him every time poisoned him."
Yep.
So I looked up Tears of Lys on the wiki, just to give a little bit more background, if that's okay. So like you said, it's a rare and expensive poison made by the alchemists of Lys. It is clear, tasteless, odorless, and leaves no trace.
Jeez.
So when it is dissolved in liquids and swallowed, the poison eats away at the stomach and bowels of the victim and appears to be a disease of the organs.
It's like arsenic.
Yeah, so giving the victim a powerful purgative, I think, like making him throw up, if done early enough, may be the only thing that can save their life. So if you give them like an antidote that makes you throw up early enough, it'll save your life.
And do you remember what was happening?
What?
Maester Pycelle said that the other Maester was giving him things to throw up, and Maester Pycelle told him to stop and sent him away. So he could have saved his life.
Sneaky little.
That original Maester could have saved Jon Arryn's life.
I'm telling you, I don't like Pycelle at all.
So it seems like Pycelle.
That's just crazy. And I
Even
think
in the show, he like.
But I'm grasping at straws here. So
and I think
character
if you're
gives him
going to kill someone with poison, this would be the one.
yes,
Because there's no
trace.
but it's expensive.
And it makes it look like there's a disease of the organs.
Right. So anyway, so he was poisoned clearly by someone that he has been eating with for a long time. Who had he been eating with every day?
A lot of people. Who?
One in particular that we know right now he was eating with. He was eating with his squire every day.
Oh, yeah.
What happened to his squire?
He died.
He died just recently, right?
Hold on, but he got rich first.
That's right. So his squire didn't, and Ned starts going through this. He goes, so his squire didn't leave King's Landing. He got money and stayed here. He didn't go with Lysa.
So he wasn't really loyal to them anymore.
No, it doesn't even seem like, he was loyal to...
He said, screw you, I got my money, I'm staying here.
Right. Well, if he was the one that poisoned him, then yeah.
Right.
So then, because he poisoned him, now all of a sudden he's dead, and who killed him? None other than a bannerman for the Lannisters.
Yep.
It's like these really weird coincidences coming together right now. And Ned's like, okay, so before you leave, why would they kill him? What was he doing that justified killing him?
Right.
And Varys just goes, he was asking questions.
Oh, that gives me shivers.
And what is Ned doing right now?
We will ask the questions. That's all I can think of. Don't ask
He's asking
questions.
questions right now.
But what questions is he asking?
Right.
Speaking of asking questions, let's do our discussion questions. So the first one is, if Robert actually fought in the melee, how do you think he would have done?
I think he thinks he would have done better than he actually would have done.
Not what does he think? What do you think he would have done?
I think he would have done his very best, but not. He's not.
I don't think he would have done well at all.
Yeah, he's not what he used to be.
I don't know. I think Robert's got
Some moves.
He's got some moves in there. I would.
But he
Olivia, this man.
He's too fat for his armor.
This man is too fat for his armor, but this man crushed a breastplate with his hammer.
Yes, but he's too fat now. He's fat.
He's strong. He's not strong anymore.
He's still strong. He still goes hunting.
I was strong.
He still goes hunting all the time.
He knows that he's not as strong as he used to be.
That's true.
He knows he's not as skilled as he used to be.
But I think he would have put it all out there on the line.
He probably would have worked his ass off.
Yeah.
Right.
Probably would have lost weight.
Lost like 20 pounds just in the melee.
Just in the melee.
Oh, God.
So, the second question that we have is, of the questions that Ned is asking himself. So, remember those questions we discussed earlier?
He's piecing everything together.
Yeah, about who would kill Bran, blah, blah, blah.
Remember.
Which do you think is most important of those questions that he's asking himself? Well, I think that the most important one is, why is Jon Arryn interested in a bastard? I think that anything to do with the bastard, I think, is extremely important. I don't know, to me.
Yeah,
It's going to definitely tie things together.
I agree with that. I think that will give us the answer as to why Jon was killed.
Why so many things are happening. Yeah. So we know Jon was killed. We know how he was killed. And he was killed for asking questions, according to Varys.
Yep.
And he was asking questions of a bastard. So really, that question still is in play.
I think another important question, because I think that the bastard stuff is very important, but I also, knowing Ned, he's very honorable to his family. It means a lot to him.
Yeah.
I think all the questions surrounding Bran is also very important, because I feel like Bran is like this piece of the puzzle that Ned doesn't know where it fits in. Mm-hmm. Like everything else, you can kind of piece it together. Like, yeah, you can see how it's all related somehow. But Bran is a 7-year-old in Winterfell. That has nothing to do with anything. So why is he part of this? Why did someone try and kill him?
To be fair,
And
I think him falling out of the window thing was obviously not planned.
Right.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Back,
It's kind of upsetting me at this point that Ned and Catelyn seem to have not put it together that he was pushed.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
It's been said several times he's always been sure-footed. He's climbed in the rain, bad weather, all the time.
Well,
and yet now he fell. There is suspicious, but they're not like just saying, oh,
he was pushed 100%.
Like, they tried to kill him once, it didn't work. Now they're trying to kill him again in a different way, and that didn't work either.
Robb Stark is definitely suspicious.
Yes.
Because he was saying, like, oh, like, I've seen you climb 1,000 times.
Yes.
And I have never seen you fall. Like, what happened? And it sucks because Bran doesn't remember what happened.
Yeah.
No, he does remember what happened.
Not right now.
No, remember, he had the dream sequence.
Right, but it was while he was in a coma, so he didn't remember.
He says something like,
that's not important right now.
There's one thing that I read, I don't maybe this was further ahead. Maybe I'll just...
I thought that in the dream sequence, the crow had told him that that's not important right now. Why you fell is not important.
But
and how you fell.
The dream he had was in his coma, so when he woke up, he didn't remember.
Yeah.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I just thinking back to that.
In his dream, in his coma, like his comatose state, he knew. Like, he was starting to piece it together, but once he woke up, nothing.
So
So the
third and final question we have is, going off of Varys' words and who we know so far in the court, right? Who do we think in the Red Keep is there for the good of the realm? And who do we think is pushing for themselves that we know as of right now?
Are we talking about the small council?
We're talking about the small council.
Okay,
not everyone in the court, but
who's part of it?
Yeah, small council for Robert Baratheon.
Renly.
I'm gonna pull it up so that we can go through them. You know what I'm saying? It'll just be easier that way. Okay. Robert Baratheon.
Ned, and that's it.
Ned, that's it. Yeah.
So far, it seems like Ned. Varys is questionable.
Okay, so first, Hand of the King, Lord Eddard Stark.
Yes.
Right.
Who do we think?
I think he's...
Realm.
Yeah, Realm.
Realm, for sure.
He's too honorable.
Pycelle.
Himself.
Now it seems like himself.
Yeah.
But we don't know why.
I think he used to be for the realm, and then the Lannisters got their grubby little hands on him.
I don't quite understand how someone that's been there for that long is not for the realm.
Yeah. I don't think he's specifically for himself, though. I think he serves the Lannisters.
True.
Yeah, I'm just throwing that out.
But that's also, serving the Lannisters could be serving for yourself.
Yeah.
At the same point, because they're the richest people, so you're serving for yourself to get paid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. All right, next we have Master of Coin, Lord Peter Baelish.
Himself.
Himself.
100%.
Yeah, see, but at this point, we don't have a reason to question that yet.
Fair enough.
Take the show out of it.
Okay.
Take the show out of it. The Peter Baelish that we know so far, still for himself, yes, but I think...
so the events that we have gone through with
he's just
Peter...
wormy.
With the events that we've gone through with Peter, though.
I don't know if he's wormy yet. He's barely done... He's only done one thing that's weird, and that was touch Sansa's hair. Other than that...
No.
We don't know that he's wormy yet.
I'm
going to say this, though. He did warn Ned...
He did warn
that the
touch
best
him.
thing that he's done since he's got there is not trust him.
True.
So maybe he is for himself.
I think
I think he could go either way right now. If we're talking about the
So he's split down the middle. Okay. Next we have Master of Laws, Lord Renly Baratheon. I think he's realm.
I would say he's right.
I don't know if it's realm or if it's...
He knows yet.
What? Yeah, I don't know if it's realm or if he's just having fun.
Yeah.
It seems like he's
just there to laugh.
having fun, and he's there because his brother's there, and if his brother wasn't there, he wouldn't be there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I agree.
I think it's more family, which isn't realm.
I think he's too young.
Well, I think it's family. I don't think it's realm. And I'm not even thinking himself.
Yeah.
I'm thinking family-wise.
Okay.
House.
Fair enough.
So that's a little different than themselves.
He's
but,
there for his house.
Yeah.
And then Varys. Obviously, is the last one.
No, there's 3 more.
What?
So next is Master of Ships, Lord Stannis Baratheon. Now, he's going to be a little difficult because we haven't seen a lot of him.
Yeah.
Himself, he's not there.
But off of what... I was going to say off of what we know, he left.
Yeah, with him running off and not coming back, I would say himself.
Yes.
But I'm going to throw this in there. It could be the realm, because if he knows something, and he left because he knew he'd be killed because he was working with Jon Arryn, maybe he found the answer to the question.
Yeah, but at this point, we don't know a lot about him because we haven't seen a lot of Stannis.
Yeah,
No.
so it's hard to do.
I'm just throwing it out there, but as I would agree himself at this point, if you're not going to be there.
Next, we have Master of Whispers, Varys.
It seems like realm.
I would say realm.
Definitely
Especially
realm.
after the last conversation.
Definitely realm.
You can tell he wants to give him the information, but he is holding back because of who he's
But I think he does that
now.
strategically. Like, he tells people what they need to know and nothing more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know?
He also seems to play a little bit of the, I don't want to say do party line. I'm just going to use like politics as a thing. He kind of toes the party line when he knows what he needs to say in front of who he needs to say it in front of.
Yeah.
So, for instance, just a little quote, when Ned walks into the small council meeting, the first small council meeting, he goes, "Oh, sorry to hear about what happened on the road. We're praying for King Joffrey's recovery, or Prince Joffrey's recovery."
But,
right? Because that's towing the party line, and he knows damn well what happened. It's Varys.
But he could be saying things and just planting little things just to see, like, reactions or, like,
Exactly.
get more information,
He's
you
playing,
know?
yeah,
he's
but
playing
I think
the room.
he's also, that's what I mean by playing the party lines, where
Yes.
if he said something like, "Oh, I'm sorry about your daughter,"
Yeah.
it would be like, okay, well, I thought Joffrey was hurt. You know what I mean? Like, it just plays into that.
Okay, last but not least, we have Lord Commander of the Kingsguard, Sir Barristan Selmy.
Definitely realm.
I would say realm too, yeah, because he doesn't seem to have
I think he's just there.
Yeah, he
for
doesn't
whoever's
seem like a
on the
snake to
throne.
me.
But what was important is that he also didn't want Robert to fight in the melee. Mm-hmm. And he was the one that was hoping that what Robert said was just said in a drunken stupor, and then he was hoping that he would wake up and see the error.
So
he didn't want him to get hurt
He doesn't
either.
seem like he's behind whoever's trying to kill him.
No.
Right.
Definitely not. So I would say Ned should talk to him.
Selmy?
Yeah.
Because clearly Selmy's not behind this, and I don't...
Yeah, from
And
what
he's
we've
the commander of the
Selmy seems to
Kingsguard.
be-
Yeah.
So he could look through his Kingsguard and see who's the problem.
Yeah.
Right.
Just a thought. Just throwing that out there.
I don't think... Honestly, I think he's only...
Ned feels alone right now.
I feel
in
like
this
Selmy
role.
has played such a small part that like we haven't paid a whole lot of attention to him, but now that we kind of bring him out more, he doesn't seem to be... He seems to be a good guy.
I
Yeah.
think he should be talking to him.
Yeah.
And I hope he does.
Yeah. Me
And
too.
if he doesn't, then it's a major loss.
All right, our Tyrion tidbit for the day is next time I have an idea like that, punch me in the face. I feel like I've said that
Yeah,
a
so
fair
that's a common
amount
one,
of
yeah.
times.
Yes. Oh, goodness. Okay, guys, make sure you follow us on all of our social media. On Facebook, we have a page, Game of Wine's A Song of Ice and Fire podcast. We also have a Facebook group where we share funny memes, videos, anything Game of Wines related. You can follow us on our group at Game of Wines Podcast Group. We are also on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at Game of Wines 1, and also on YouTube at Game of Wines Podcast. That is it for this week's episode of Game of Wines. Next episode, we will be discussing Tyrion Chapter 4, so make sure you read before next episode. Thanks for listening.